My name is Jim Ciccarello, and we're going to talk about Lisa Chiavario, who became Lisa Chiavario Henry. I know Lisa from when I was a young puppy dog myself, back in the 1960s. And I graduated from the University of New Mexico, and I started teaching elementary phys ed, and then I started coaching with the Duke City Dashers. And Lisa was a female athlete. This is before Title IX, running with the Duke City, Albuquerque Olympic Club. And her and Carol Hudson were two of the better athletes in the state of New Mexico, and they grew up and participated for the New Mexico Lobos a few years later. You know, at that time, before Title IX, females were not really competing at the collegiate level or the high school level. So there was a lot of club activity, and there were age group track programs across New Mexico and other states. And these girls were pioneers for female athletics. And they competed locally and then on a state level. And then as they qualified, they would go on to national level and maybe the Olympic trials, of which Lisa was a part of in 1972. But they started out in age group, and they were the trailblazers for women's athletics as a whole. They set things up for NCAA athletics. Well, you know, the heyday of track and field for the University of New Mexico was the 1960s. And that was basically the men's program with Adolph Plummer and Hugh Hackett being the coach. But the age group program and the female program started to take off in the late 60s and the 70s. And the University of New Mexico was the beneficiary of people like Lisa Chiavario, Carol Hudson, Barbara Butler. All these girls that came through the age group program kind of got a jump start for the New Mexico Lobos. And of course, we all know that the New Mexico Lobos has an outstanding program under Joe Franklin right now. And hopefully the future is bright, but Lisa had a very big hand in getting it started. When I see Lisa, I have a lot of experience with Lisa, not only as an athlete, but as an educator and a coach, is that Lisa was a role model. And by role model, I mean she did things in athletics that females could copycat. She was a coach that would come to track practice. I was at Sandia High School back in 1980, and she was one of my coaches. And she would have a kid, and she put her kid on the backpack, and she was able to be a mom at the same time that she was being a coach. And she always did those things to make athletes better and make her own family better. She's a family person. She was an athlete. She's an educator because she taught at Cibola High School. She taught at El Dorado High School. She was a head girls track coach at Cibola High School. She was an assistant at Sandia. She brought up some boys that became outstanding track athletes and coaches themselves. And of course, she was married to Matt Henry, a former Lobo. So you can see that she had a lot of hats. Even though Lisa really didn't wear a hat, she had a lot of hats. And I can tell you this, I remember when I was coaching with the Duke City Dashers, just to give you an idea how good Lisa was. First of all, she was very good in the long jump. She was like a 19-foot long jumper, which today would place her high at the Mountain West and get her qualified to go to nationals in the NCAAs. And when we talk about the early 70s, girls weren't jumping that far, but Lisa was. She'd be in the top 5 in the United States of America. She was that good. Now, Lisa is also a very good relay person, and I always remember going to a track meet just to watch a handoff between her and Carol Hudson. And I used to tell my little age group girls, I want you to be just like Lisa and Carol. That's the kind of handoff I want. You watch them. And if she was running a 4x4 relay or 4x1 relay, the handoff was always perfect. And my girls had to copycat her. And lo and behold, my little girls grew up and they became just like that. So my experiences of watching Lisa grow up and then working with her as she became an adult and still keeping in contact with Matt Henry, her husband, and her boys as they grew up and now their grandkids is something special to me as a coach in the state of New Mexico.